Hi, this is Steve, K8BZ, and now continuing on the series of videos for SYSOPs for remote packet stations. I want to talk about a system of specifying allowed users for a packet radio station. That's done with the command called CONList or connect list. We're going to discuss that from the dumb terminal program IP serial. Now I've already connected to this packet station that we're going to be using. I've connected by radio to the remote access call sign. I've already put in the connect text that needed to be verified. I won't go back over how to do that. That was covered in the video on connecting to a remote packet station as a SYSOP. So I've skipped over that portion so as not to show the connect text and that information on the video. So we're at the prompt, input prompt, which is the SYSOP input prompt to the command set. Now the command that we're going to be talking about is the CONList or connect list. Now the first thing I want to do to make sure that we don't get off track, as I'm going to display the help file from the Cantronics TNC. The short version of the connect list command is CONL, C-O-N-L. If yours does not display this this basic set of instructions or the basic help file from your TNC, even if it's a Cantronics, it could be an older version, older firmware version. If it only displays the possibilities of setting the CONList command to on or off, the information in this video will not apply. They combined a couple of features from the budlist command and the CONList command in the newer versions into one command, just the CONList command. So when you do the question mark CONL and it only displays the two options on or off and not any of this information, you can disregard the rest of this video. Later on I will probably do a video for the older versions where you have to use a couple different commands. You have to use the budlist command and the CONList command. You can achieve the same thing, but you have to use two different commands. But we're going to go with the current version right now, since I believe most of the TNCs in use here in Michigan are the newer versions. If you want to know what version of firmware you have, just type VER and it'll tell you what version it is, and exactly where they updated this to combine the two commands, budlist and CONList, into one command, I'm not sure. But this is the current version, so we're going to talk about this. The connect list command, let me first describe a scenario. You have activated the EOC for an emergency, communications emergency of some kind. You've activated an emergency packet network. You may have even had to QSY off the daily use frequency onto one that is kind of set aside and reserved for emergency communications purposes. So the BBS has moved off to an independent frequency where there's less normal daily traffic, and all of the remote stations set up, and I'll use the same type of scenarios we've been talking about at the EOC, the shelter, and the staging areas, and the National Traffic System liaison. Those tactical call signs have all been assigned, and those are the people that are going to be connecting to the bulletin board to send and receive their traffic. Now, it's not unusual that another casual packet operator may just be scanning the band or tuning through the band and finding some packet activity and just basically wondering what's going on. Just out of curiosity, with no bad intent to interfere with the emergency communications, may connect to the bulletin board and try to list messages or read bulletins and just see what's going on. That could interfere with the operation of the emergency communications network. So you could do lots of things, contact that person, email the person, or do all sorts of things, or you could use the connect list command to specify the authorized stations to contact this remote packet station, which includes the bulletin board, and you can instruct that remote packet station to ignore any other stations, and you use the connect list command to do that. Now the parameters for the connect list command are turning it on or off, and then listing the call signs that are eligible to connect to this packet station. So let's do this. Now we're connected to a remote packet station. It's W8GDW. Just showing you the my call. This is actually an actual connection by radio, and we're in the remote SYSOP portion of this TNC, so we can set the command. So we're going to set the connect list command, and the first thing we're going to do is we want to list the SYSOP, and that in this case is K8BZ. So now let's take a look at the connect list command now, and we'll see how it's set. It's set to off, and the authorized stations to connect to the BBS are K8BZ. So as long as the connect list command is set to off, any station can connect to this remote packet station. They can connect to the node, they can use it as a digi, and they can connect to the bulletin board. If that command was turned on, if I set connect list to on, now I'll redisplay it. The connect list now is turned on. The only station that can connect to this packet station at all is K8BZ. Well, that's my call sign, so I'm still able to communicate with the packet station. Now you need to be careful doing this. The first station that should always be listed in the connect list command is the SYSOP for that remote packet station. Remember, the station is unmanned, it's in a remote location, people do not have access to it. The only control you have over this station is to connect remotely. So you want the SYSOP always to be able to connect to that, even when the connect list command is set to on. Now after that, you probably want to add any call signs for other stations that you know would be involved in an emergency communications network. Now you use that using the plus and minus signs that are shown up here. Now let's go back. I'm going to set con list to off, and then I'm going to set con list to none. That means there are no stations in the list. And then I'm going to display the current setting of the connect list. Now it's set back to off, and there are no call signs listed. So let's list the call signs that we know will probably be used in an activation. Con list, we know we're probably we always want to have the SYSOP. We'll separate these by commas. We're probably going to have the EOC. We're probably going to have incident command. We could possibly have a shelter. We could possibly have a staging area. And we're probably going to have an NTS liaison. Now let's look at the connect list again. Connect list is still off, so any stations can still connect to any of the various forms of this packet station, the node, the digi, the bulletin board, any of those that can still be used by any station. But if I turn con list on, and then we'll redisplay the settings. Now, these are the only call signs that will be recognized by this remote packet station. Only packets from K8BZ or these tactical call signs. Now, the tactical call signs that could possibly be used can be left on this list at all times. You can even add additional call signs if you want. Let's say we had a second shelter. Con list. Whoops, we're going to do a plus. We're going to add a call sign. Shelter 2. We'll do a con list and see what the current settings are. And now you'll see Shelter number 2 has been added to the connect list. So the SYSOP, when they log in remotely, can add or remove any of these. Shelter 2 is now closed. CONList minus will remove it. And we'll display the current setting. Now shelter number 2 has been removed from the connect list. So on a normal basis, this wouldn't necessarily be something that you would use, but in an emergency communications activation, this will help prevent just curious onlookers, not people with any ill intent, but curious onlookers from connecting or using the station that could interfere with the slot times of the assigned emergency communications stations in a real activation. So this will allow you to specify which stations can have access to this remote packet station. Anyone not in the connect list will not be able to do that. And I can demonstrate this. Right now, the EOC and Incident Command and Shelter are the stations on the list are the ones that are able to connect. So I'm going to do a Control-C to get the command prompt, and I'm going to disconnect. Now, my call sign is K8BZ, so I'm going to connect to W8GDW-1, and I'll be allowed to connect. No problem. Okay. Send the B command and disconnect. Now, I'm also the trustee of a club station that's used for emergency communications, and that call sign is KE8DMW. So I just changed my call. Let me do that again. My call is now KE8DMW. Now I'm going to try to connect to the same station, W8GDW-1. And since that call sign is not in the connect list, W8GDW is going to totally ignore those packets. Now I'm transmitting, I'm going to turn the monitor. Yeah, we won't worry about that. But I'm sending connect requests to that station, and it's totally ignoring it. It's going to ignore any packets from any station that is not in the connect list. Okay, so I'll disconnect my attempts. I'm going to change my call back to my call sign. Again, connect W8GDW dash, whoops, let's try that the right way. See, W8GDW-1, and there should be no problem connecting now because I am in the connect list. So that gives you the information you need. Now I need to do one thing here. I'm going to reconnect. Okay, now I have to let you know that I clipped out the portion where I did the remote connect so as not to give away the actual connect text for this station. But we'll go back and look at the connect list. Now, I can leave the connect list as is. All I have to do is turn the command off. Connect list off. I don't have to remove all the call signs. I leave the SYSOP and all of the tactical call signs on the list, but the connect list is now turned off. As you can see, that's the current setting. So now any station can connect to this bulletin board and use this remote packet station on a normal basis. If there is a need to activate, all I need to do is turn the command on and check the call signs in the connect list and make sure I'm including all of the stations that will be involved in the emergency communications network. When the emergency communications is over, I'll reconnect remotely and turn connect list back off after I've turned it on for the emergency communications event. So that's how you can restrict access to a remote packet station for the needed operations and keep curious onlookers from interfering with the emergency communications network, and then turn it back to normal again without ever having to visit the site to do it. So we will continue with others in this series for SYSOPs, so please come back if you're the SYSOP of a remote packet station, and pick up a little more information on how Packet can be used in an emergency communications network. As always, feel free to email me if you have any questions or problems at k8bz@arrl.net, and we can work together to work out any issues that you have. Thank you.